Terrell here at San Diego Comic-Con 2022, and we're here with Charles Murakami, the
senior producer for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection.
Charles, what made you guys decide to throw all this into one game?
You know, ultimately at the beginning, we were going to do like the Contra collection, the Castlevania collection, and the fans requested the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And when we started doing the collection, we were talking about what's the best 7 to put in. And then I actually stepped in and said, no, not 7. The fans want all of them.
Right.
And I'm sure you grew up with some of these games, but there's a lot of games people haven't played before, and we wanted to make sure the games you've played and the games you haven't are all in here.
Right. Now, Turtles in Time was always my favorite one on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Now, with the other Turtles game that just came out, I'm trying to think of the title.
Right.
All of that coming out at the same time, was that planned? Was that coordinated?
Actually, as we were making the collection, we didn't know about the other titles, but that's okay. Like, they're harkening back to our game, but our game is harkening to all of Kevin Eastman's original Turtles back in the 80s, and they'll know where all the references come from by playing this collection.
Now, what are the major differences in this game versus, the back in the day versions of this game?
Well, not only do we have enhancements, like you could have the flicker and the slowdown if you want it, but there are enhancements to take those to lower the flickering, to lower the slowdown, and we have online play as well. Right. So obviously, games back then didn't have online play.
And you don't have to put quarters into it.
Yeah, you got infinite money now, so you can play as much as you want.
Now,
as well as we have the design docs from way back when, and we included over 1,000 pages of design docs as well. So
now, are there any secrets that you guys, but before this comes out, that you guys haven't already announced that you could talk about?
Well, the cool thing about the design docs is it's actually filled with things that were like rumored. I want to keep it a secret for you guys to discover for yourself. Yeah. But going through the design docs, the developers and I were like, oh my God, so this is where that came from. Or I don't want to go into too much detail without spoiling it, but yes, there's some really cool surprises in there.
Yeah.
The 4 turtles bust through the window and Shredder has April in his arm.
Yeah.
And then that scene that Kevin Eastman drew is Shredder taking April on a Technodrome and driving away.
Wow.
And then the turtles are fighting some foot soldiers.
Yeah.
And then level 2 is them on the streets chasing after Shredder. So that one picture is the scene between those 2 levels.
Wow.
So the first time in 30 years, we actually added some story.
I'm noticing that, like looking at the background, like the comic art and stuff to check out back in. That's really cool.
So this is all Kevin Eastman stuff, and we knew that we want to give homage to both the animated show, and of course to Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's comic book run as well. So this is all very, very intentional. Let me see if this is actually, I don't think this one's connected.
Not that controller.
Right. I think this is just being a black drop.
Okay.
So I think that's connected to that one. Right. But we might have to hop onto one of the smaller ones if you actually want to see it in action.
All right, we're about to see the game in action now.
Right. So all 13 games are in here as you go through it. And once again, an homage to Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's comics. The other thing is you could also change region.
Wow.
So you could change to the Japanese version.
Wow.
So you can see like the box art changes.
Yeah. What are the major differences between the Japanese version and the American version?
So sometimes their costumes is a little risque. Let's just say we got a teen rating.
Okay.
For some of these. Of course, the Japanese text is on some of these. Mm-hmm. And the title is like Return of the Shredder. I've never heard of that. That's Hyperstone Heist. So there's a lot of subtle differences.
Right.
Even in games like the Game Boy game, let me go to Radical Rescue. Mm-hmm. In the American version, like the map only shows black dots where there's like something of interest. Mm-hmm. But in the Japanese version, it'll tell you if it's like there's a boss here. There's a key here.
Wow.
So the Japanese version is actually slightly easier because of that. Right. But we actually, let's see if we haven't. But in the American version, they actually added so that in the American version you could turn these on and off.
That's a lot of thought into that. That's something I wouldn't even have thought of, like, even be thinking in the game. Like,
right.
How did you even get involved in this project?
So, telling a longer story,
Yeah.
I was actually on Yu-Gi-Oh! Before.
Oh, the Konami game.
Yeah, so I was on like Legacy of the Duelist, Link
Yeah, I love
Evolution.
those games. Yeah.
Nice, thanks. And originally, it was a different group in Japan that was going to make the Turtles collection because we were doing the Contra collection, the Castlevania collection, and then the fans were like, "Give us Turtles, give us Turtles."
Right.
So we knew the next one's Turtles, but Japan was like, "Oh, which 7 do you like? Would you like to do just the consoles, or do we need the Game Boy games?" And then that's when I heard that, I ran over to my boss and said, "Oh my God, we might lose. We're like Radical Rescue. We might lose tournament fighters. Like something's going to disappear.
Right.
If we only had 7." And my boss said, "Let's go for it. Charles, make a proposal."
Right.
And my proposal was like all of them, not only the American versions, the Japanese versions, all of them.
Yeah.
And then the U.S. side and Europe side was like, "That sounds awesome. Let's do that." And I presented it to Japan, and then they said, "Well, if you're so passionate about it, why don't you produce it too?"
Well,
So I went from Yu-Gi-Oh! Straight to Turtles.
Doing all the Turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most exciting projects. When this first got announced, they were like, "Well, you could already buy like some of those games online, but to have it
Right.
have it all in one place." And essentially a comic book museum of everything here,
Right.
is really, really cool.
And the other thing we were trying to get also was the design docs from like over 30 years ago. And because of the pandemic, I couldn't fly to Japan. So there's only a few people who have access to the Konami archive vault. So I FaceTimed that guy, and then he would just take me around and be like, "Oh, Turtles in Time, are you interested?" "Of course I'm interested."
Yeah.
They take the box out, and then I didn't know how much they had, but they brought out like a binder this thick, and then they're like, "Oh, look at all these design docs.
Wow.
Do any of these interest you?" I was like, "Yes."
All of them.
"Oh my God, what is this? Treasure trove of stuff."
Right.
And they're like, cool. We'll scan these and get these to you. Okay, volume 2. Oh, look, there's a volume 2. And just kept on going and going. And for like so many games. Some of them they didn't have anything left, but for the ones they did, it's amazing a number of design docs in there.
That's really cool. They gave you that much access and like let you go all out. I can see
Yeah.
this is like a whole love letter to like this series, like how great this series is. Like I already know I'm gonna lose so much time
Right.
playing Turtles in Time in Japanese and English.
Yeah, and things like even Teenage
God.
Ninja Turtles. The crazy thing was they've only had one season of the show.
Right.
So they didn't know exactly what like the party wagon, the turtle van, or the blimp looked like exactly.
Right.
So there's references in the design docs to like the toys. So what it looks like in 3D.
Wow.
So
Yeah, just
the amount of research they did.
I had this game. I think I was like 3, 4, or 5. Could never beat it, man. This game is
Well-
impossible.
Now, so not only do we have the enhancements, right, to remove slowdown and flicker, you also have things like what we call watch mode. So this game is playing by itself, and we have our experts playing through this.
Wow.
But what makes it, and this will take you all the way to Shredder.
Within 30 minutes, 40
Well,
minutes?
yeah, but at any time you could actually jump right in. Oh, this is the pause button. You could jump right in, and I'll take over. Now I can play.
So there's a pre-played expert, like somebody already playing, and you can just jump right into the game.
Right.
That's
Ah!
crazy.
Wait, hold on. I wasn't ready for. I wasn't ready for
We
it.
won't count this against you. Won't count this against you.
But yeah, I wasn't ready for what was about to happen to me. But yeah. So you could, if you have trouble, not only can you do saves, you could to save your spot, and you could retry it, or reload it if you have to go back. You could also rewind. If that's not enough, you could just watch and then skip all the way to where you want to go. You could even fast forward this. Oh shoot, hold on. Someone changed the button, son.
Oh, they checked the layout on you.
Well, it's okay. Yeah, they changed the button layout on me on this one, but nonetheless.
I'm really excited about this, Charles. Like I can't tell you. Like I said, I can't wait till I can get my collector's edition of the game and see how well that plays out.
Yeah, and the collector's edition also has Kevin Eastman, the Turtles in Time poster, in his style too. So that was like, man, that one I asked for personally.
Right.
When Nickelodeon said I could talk to Kevin Eastman to ask him to do stuff for us, made that one for us. But the other one, I was like, can you make me a Turtles in Time one? And Kevin Eastman was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, man.
So I was like, oh my God. He said yes.
Yeah, it's cool that you were able to work with him and go through this one by one just to see like everything that has inspired his work has inspired, especially all these games.
Right.
And like I said, just to have everything all in one place is really, really cool.
And like having him be at least partially involved in it was like a dream come true for me. So
look, I'm living the dream right now, getting an opportunity to interview you, man, and
thanks.
Having the opportunity to find out how the behind the scenes, how this stuff works, and having an opportunity to finally beat a game that's virtually impossible to beat.
Right.
So
no, you'll hands down be able to beat it.
Okay.
Now. You will be able to. Hopefully you'll be able to do it without any enhancements or anything.
Yeah. Nah, I think I'm gonna have to cheat this one. All right, before we get out here, I just got two questions.
Sure.
Who's your favorite turtle?
I used to be a mechanical engineer, so that makes me a Donatello.
Okay.
But people say my spirit is a Michelangelo, so.
I feel like got that real goofy
Right.
attitude. Like, and
how about yours? What's your favorite?
Leonardo
turtle?
all day.
Oh,
Leonardo,
nice.
I've always felt like the katanas always appealed to me.
Right.
Always got that leader appeal. So definitely Leonardo. And just tell the people when the game's coming out. When the
Yeah, August 30th. It's only a month away. I'm looking really forward to getting into people's hands.
All right, guys, you heard it here. Charles, just let us know August 30th, and we're gonna go ahead and let you guys know. See.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charles.